Hey, everybody, my name is Ashley, and I'm the social media manager for Extensis, and I am here with Oscar Guerrero. He is a typeface designer, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. Go ahead, Oscar.
Hello, Ashley. Thank you for having me here in this interview. Well, I'm a independent type designer from Colombia. I have my own foundry called Sumotype Foundry, and I work in typeface design about 10 years.
Wow. And I first found Oscar, I was scrolling from the Extensis profile, and his Instagram came up, and it's just so fascinating. And you guys are going to be able to see some of his work shortly. But I love to just chat about your experience as a type designer. So, can you explain how you got started in type design?
Well, I started in type design about 10 years ago with a huge knowledge gap, but a lot of motivation. At the beginning of my career, I didn't have an interest in typography. It was a talent I discovered by accident. Actually, it began when I traveled to Buenos Aires in 2011. I was looking for new job opportunities. In Argentina, I discovered a lot of graphic design inspiration, and at the University of Buenos Aires, I found a postgraduate degree in type design that caught my attention. I applied, they accepted me, and I start my classes. At the beginning, I start with a lot of fear because my classmates had so much experience than me. But little by little, I was getting more involved in the classes until I fall deeply in love in type design. At present, I work in different kind of projects related to type design. I sell my typefaces through several foundries. I design custom typefaces for important brands in Colombia and in other countries in Latin America. I design custom logotypes and I teach in some universities here in Colombia.
I did not know that you taught as well. Wow, you're busy. I love that.
Yes.
And I love what you said, you learn piece by piece. I think a lot of people don't start because they don't have all the answers there. But I love your story is so inspiring that you didn't stop. You kept going.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
let's chat about what role does history play in type design?
Well, history is everything to me. Although I'm not a historian, it is where I have found my greatest source of inspiration. I treat each typeface as a tribute to an ancient typographer or calligraphic style. I feel like I've already found a personal style where I use history as a model and calligraphy as a visual resource. Each of my typefaces from the last 2 years has a level of interpretation based on a historical model and on a calligraphic style.
Nice. And we're going to take a moment just to look at some of your designs now. So, Oscar, tell us what inspired you to offer typeface with a strong historical background?
Okay, I really like history because it was my first approach to understanding typography. For me, it's easier to understand typography if we observe its historical evolution. For instance, the commercial context in the 19th century in England during the Industrial Revolution allowed the design of new typographic styles such as fat faces or slab serifs. And I love how those historical facts directly influence type design. Then in my work, I try to use history as a resource of inspiration so that the typefaces have a strong historical background.
Nice. So, Oscar, you have worked with brands all over. Tell us about that and a few of your favorite partnerships.
Yeah, my favorite custom project is the typeface I designed for a pub named the Irish Pub, based here in Bogota. The client was looking to refresh the brand identity without losing its roots.
Mm,
This was a case where typography had a great importance, not only because it solved the technical issues, it also became an extension of the logo. Then, first, I researched on calligraphic styles of Gaelic and Celtic alphabets. And second, I work with the structures of these calligraphic models in order to carry out a workshop with the client. I love working in a collaborative way with the client as this made them feel so more connected to the project and they felt the typography as their own. Then,
mm.
as of today, the brand uses this typeface as a resource in all its communication platforms.
Nice. Wow. I'm just thinking back, it- entrepreneurship, and this is just a testament that if you keep going, you can land those big projects that you've been going after. And I love that this is happening for you and that you're able to help other brands and able to help other people to grow their business as well, because that's what it's all about.
Yes.
So, creative block. The creative block, it sucks. Let's just be honest. How do you overcome that?
Well, I think creative blocks are part of every designer's process. It's not necessary to see them as a problem, but as a natural evolution of the work. In
Mm,
general, I have creative blocks when I work in personal projects, but since I don't have a deadline, I simply walk away for a couple of weeks, and after that time, I can see things more clearly. In custom projects, it's unusual for creative blocks to appear since I try to gather all the information I need from the client before I start to design, and
right.
this makes everything flow in the best way.
Did you guys hear what he said? He said he walks away for a couple of
Yeah,
weeks, not a couple of hours,
no,
not a couple of days, weeks. And I think a lot of times we try to rush this creative process when we should do exactly what you have done and walk away. So that is such great advice. Thank you. So, Oscar, tell us, how does Bogota influence your creativity?
well, I live in Bogota for 15 years, although it's not my hometown. It's where I found the opportunities and the ideal environment to develop my work. My hometown is called Pasto. It's located in the south of Colombia.
Okay.
And in that city, you can see art and craft almost everywhere. And that influenced my creativity during my childhood, and where eventually I graduated in graphic design.
Okay. Very cool. And is your family there as well,
Yeah,
or
my,
nice?
my
So you get,
mother, my uncles. Yeah,
okay. Big family?
yeah, it's a big family.
Okay. I come from a very large family. My mother alone is one of 17.
Oh,
So it's like, oh my goodness. It's a lot of us. So I love family and I love that you're surrounded by them. They're important.
yes, that's true.
So let's talk about some of your favorite type designers or foundries.
I always found inspiration in classic designers. For instance, my first typefaces were tributes to the work of Nicolas Jenson or Giambattista Bologna. There are also contemporary designers whom I follow closely. I love, for example, the work of Paul Barnes from Commercial Type, the Portuguese designer Rui Abreu, and the work of Fernando Melo from Brazil. I feel they have a deep understanding of typography and manage to give it a particular flavor based on
Hmm,
classic styles.
got it. Thank you for shouting them out. I'm sure they love that. So, who are some of your favorite Latin American type designers or foundries?
Yeah, I'm fortunate that I had a certain personal relationship with some of the type designers I most admire. One of them is Frecosi. She's an amazing designer from Argentina who is
Hmm.
also my best friend. And we
Oh,
talk
wow.
every day, and she has helped me in many ways, not only in type design. Another designer that I admire since my beginnings is Ruben Fontana, uh, who was my teacher in Argentina in the postgraduate degree. I have also worked on custom typeface projects with the Mexican design studio Enigma, led by Isaías Loaiza. I learned a lot from them, and they are people who I admire and appreciate very much.
All right. So, speaking of people that you admire, is there anybody that you want to collaborate with?
Yeah, has already happened. 2 years ago, we did a collaborative project with Frecosi. We came up with the idea of designing an experimental variable font. We are very different in our interests and ways of designing typography, and taking advantage of this, each one designed a very different extreme, a very different master in the family, in the variable family. Uh, by being compatible in its drawing, we managed to generate a series of intermediate instances, mixing the two ways of thinking. This variable font is called June. You can find it in first website. And in the end, it was a very interesting project because of the concept behind the typography.
So, tell us, Oscar, how do you find inspiration?
Okay, I think there are moments where you should wait for inspiration, and others where you should look for the information you need to work in. In my personal projects, I always let the inspiration appear
Mm.
within the calligraphic practice or by reading a topic of history that interests me. This is something that could take weeks or months. In custom projects, I think we can wait for inspiration to appear. It's necessary to extract all the information from the client so that the project works in the required time. In my process, I'm usually very methodical in the search for information, and this makes it easy to find the correct answer to solve the project. I don't usually wait around for inspiration, I just work.
Got it. Okay. And I know everybody has their way, and we all find it differently. I think the main overarching theme is to figure out what works best for you. So, I'm glad that you figured it out, Oscar. And I have one more question for you. What do you do for fun? In the beginning, you told us you do a lot of things. You're an entrepreneur, you teach, but when you're not working, what do you do for fun?
I working out. I love to exercise, and I always find space in the day to do it. It's something that helps me release tension and think better about what I should do during the day, and it's also very healthy and liberating.
Yeah, yep. And then, of course, we all have to take care of ourselves as creatives, but on a more professional level, do you have to close us out? And this is the last question, I promise. Do you have any advice for type designers out there? What type of advice would you share with them?
Mm, I think the greatest quality a type designer can have is patience.
Mm,
Typography is a discipline of a lot of work and study. A project can take years to complete, and this makes it difficult for many designers who are more eager to show what they are doing in social media.
mm.
Then, my advice would be to learn from their mistakes, study hard, and to be very, very patient. because to become a mature designer, you have to spend several years of hard work.
Patience is key.
Yes.
And you're right. Social media has prevented people from really being patient so they can do their best work. So that is phenomenal advice. Thank you for sharing that. A lot of people won't be honest and say that, but I love that. And I've really loved this chat with you. So thank you guys for joining Oscar and I. Be on the lookout for some more wonderful, amazing interviews with creatives from all over. You guys have a great day. Thanks, Oscar.
Bye.